Okay, we're live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. Hello, James. It's great to have you here. How are you
Hi,
doing?
Hilly. Yeah, great, great to be here with you.
Perfect. I want to introduce you to the community of AI Academy, and this is a session that I've been looking forward to. Since we met, since you joined AI Academy, we've been trying to organize this. So finally, we're here today. Thank you so much for making the time. Thank you so much for joining us to start with. And while we wait just for a couple of minutes for people to join, I will ask everyone to just write in the chat where you're joining from so that we have an understanding of who is joining today. Well, I'm joining from Italy, from Milan, to start with. And James, I believe you're in Copenhagen, right?
Yeah, just north of Copenhagen, yeah. So huddled up here.
How's the weather there right now?
It's pretty grim. Well, it's dark now, so you can't see anything, but when it's actually light, it's pretty grim. But yeah, for those that are joining from Denmark, you know the pain.
Yeah. It's really surprising, but actually, the situation is the same in Italy. It's been rainy and gray for, I think, 3 days in a row. This is good enough for me.
Oh,
I think more than this, I'm really struggling.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, we have someone joining from Switzerland. Hi, Fred. I'm actually going to Zurich next month to visit my ex-colleagues there. There's Dimitri from Georgia. I was also in Georgia actually in July. It's a lovely country.
Dimitri from Georgia. If it's the Dimitri from
Yep.
Georgia that I know, I think I know Dimitri from Georgia.
Oh, you do? Amazing. Well, people are slowly tuning in. Maybe we can slowly start. For those of you who already know me, thanks for joining. I'm Helene, and it's good to see you here. For those of you who are joining for the first time, I'm leading partnership activities at AI Academy. I'm also hosting our podcast called I'm Not a Robot. So I took it as a responsibility to bring human stories to you when we're discussing about technology, AI from every angle. We discuss regulations, we discuss how this affects people's lives. So I'm hosting this podcast and I'm also hosting our webinars, introducing our team to you. And today I have James with me. James is the new CEO of AI Academy. And when we met in Copenhagen, James, I was really interested in your background because you have extensive, oh my God, I forgot the word, experience in
Great hair.
education industry. I'm just speaking a lot of Italian today, so my English is slowly leaving me. But you've been telling me about all the different projects you were involved in, all the things that you witnessed being in the industry for so long. So please introduce yourself to the AI Academy community and share the stories with us.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. So, I mean, it was actually kind of an accident that I ended up in the training industry. Um, so I started off in London in 1999, just on the yeah 99 2000, and an exciting time. I was kind of buzzed about being in what I felt like was the forefront of technology, delivering training on at that time. It was, yeah, for those of you that were around there, Microsoft NT4 and at the beginning of Cisco days and things like that. And that's how I got into the industry. And then from there, yeah, haven't left. So for almost 25 years, I've worked in, I would call the learning ecosystem for different types of organizations, training companies, certification companies, certification bodies, publishers, education publishers, and also on the policy side of things. Um, yeah, for example, so I was leading the Danish position on when the e-competence framework was being standardized, and some consultancy stuff with academia. So kind of been around, I feel like around the whole ecosystem, and yeah, have after 25 years, you end up with opinions about things, with the facility of hindsight, and now is obviously another super exciting time with everything that's happening with AI. So I guess the stars aligned at the right time for me and for AI Academy.
Yeah, I would agree. And when was the time that you realized that traditional education methodologies were not doing it for AI. And when did that happen for you?
Yeah, um, so so my opinion now isn't poo-pooing anything that I've done before. I still believe that there is a space for the traditional training methods, the traditional ILT, virtual ILT, instructor-led training. I still believe that there is a space for certifications, professional certifications, which is really what I've worked with for most of my career as the thing that is a benchmark of someone's knowledge after they've been on a course. Um, and I've been working with a great certification body over the last 6 or 7 years, highly credible certifications. But when it specifically pertains to generative AI, uh, and knowing intensely what it takes to make a credible certification, it doesn't make sense. Gen AI is moving too fast for the how certifications are created now, which can take anywhere from 10 months up to a year. And Gen AI is changing every single week. So if you want to keep current and for people to achieve certs that are relevant, it just doesn't work out. That model doesn't work out, in my opinion, with regards to generative AI. Now, training methodologies, again, there is a space for everything, but when it comes again specifically to AI, and having been a consumer of training and been in the training industry for such a long time, there needed to be a shake-up of how people are taught. Theory just doesn't cut it. Even in courses where you have hands-on exercises for multiple days in a row, it doesn't cut it. And this is really where AI Academy, and specifically the founder of AI Academy, Gianluca, who I've known for some years now, we kind of the axes crossed there, where our methodology of experiential learning, which leads to real outcomes for students that come out, is what you need for specifically AI, in my opinion. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess relatively recently, but it's something that I've thought about for a while, and just having good chats with Gianluca and you guys has kind of compounded that thought. Yeah.
Mhm. I kind of want to go a bit more deeper in that, but before doing so, I want to ask you a question on certifications because I myself love certificates. I love getting language certificates. I love going through a training program, and then at the end, I love being able to validate that I have that skill. So now, yes, Gen AI is moving really fast. So the certification that we have available is not really doing it for AI. But do you think certifications can evolve to stay relevant? Do you think there will be a way to understand if a person is capable of using Gen AI or not? Or do you think this is going to go away completely?
Well, this is where I'll get really nerdy, right? So there's a difference between certificates and certifications. So certificates you can hand out like candy. There can be certificates where, off the base of a multiple choice test that someone has made in their basement, which ends up being just an opinion of one. There can be certifications which are really arduous, rigorous processes of job tasks analysis, of creating blueprints, of having various different iterations of what you're trying to test. And it's specifically certifications that I think really struggle with Gen AI and how quickly it's moving. Because if you want to go down the really credible route, and I've had the opportunity of working for organizations that have done that, it takes 10 months, a year to do it. So that's that thing. With certifications, or others like refer to them as micro credentials, it's sure, you get something at the end. Personally, I don't believe in certificates of completion, because that guarantees one thing, and that is that you can breathe and you've been conscious to press next if it's an online program. So I don't think that achieves anything. Um, Micro credentials can be an indication of something, and that would really come down to the trust of the organization issuing those. Um, but still, it ends up being an opinion of one, right? One person or one company, what they're testing on, and all of that. Can the certification industry catch up with Gen AI? Yeah, good question. I mean, I'm sure as we get further along, there will end up being some real foundations of specifically that technology that you that that will stay relatively rigid. Um, but I can't see it right now because stuff is changing the whole time. I mean, even when the hype of prompting and from last year, as soon
Hmm.
as different models released, you've also got reasoning models, and then you need to change the way that you're prompting versus how you're prompting for different models, and um, so it's very difficult to test to give someone a certificate say you are certified in prompting because it changes, right? So um, yeah, good question. Tough to give you a solid answer with that, but yeah, I can't see it
Yeah,
right
I
now.
think it's one of the questions that don't have a clear answer right now, but there are different opinions around it. So I was wondering what you think about it. That's something we discuss quite often also within the team, right, at AI Academy, because we do certifications, but we're also quite aware that that is not the only thing that we're left, we leave students with. So
We do
people who participate in our
certificates.
programs,
Yeah, we do certificates.
we do certificates,
Yeah, not
but
certificates. Yeah, yeah,
oh yeah, okay. We do
yeah,
certificates, but not certification.
yeah.
But we do something else that is very important. So people who join our trainings, people who participate in the boot camps and different programs, they're not left with just a piece of PDF, not even a paper right now, just a PDF, but they're left with ideas, they're left with projects. So I would argue that we have quite a different approach to training and upskilling in companies as well. So could you tell a bit more about this and share this with our community as well? What is the
Yeah,
approach of AI in training?
yeah, totally. And I mean, before I decided to join you guys, as you know. So it was quite a long discussion. I think almost half a year of let's call it flirting with Gianluca and the idea of AI Academy. And one of my re- requests was that I'd like to join the boot camp, the Generative AI Project boot camp, to see what
Hmm.
that was about. And a really uh, it was really transformational for me. Um, Forget the skills and the aptitude side of things, but the way that it was run was incredibly inclusive. It was really community based. It didn't waste time. It enabled me to create and ideate and dream a little bit about what I wanted to create at the end because I wasn't being prescribed this is what you're doing. I could decide on what project I was working on, and then there was the support to help me through that process. And I thought that worked really, really well. And that's again where I, have my own opinions then about okay, there was a real outcome at the end of this. That there isn't just knowledge that I've gained that I would then go back to my job, um, on the Monday morning and think, wow, that was a great course. Now where do I start? I I actually built something, or people actually build things within this boot camp. So they know they've already done it. You've already built a house, so you know that it's not so scary to go and build another one. So then it really comes down to identifying the use cases, and that of course takes practice and it takes some time. But you've given people uh, the experience of actually building something and come out with success. So, if I was someone that wanted to go and get a job, would it be better to show up with a piece of paper to say, hey, I'm a certified or I have a micro credential in this? Or would it be to tell a story about the type of project that you've built in your free time and what you do and the process behind it and all of that stuff? I think that's way more powerful. So yeah, that's what I got out of it, and that was yeah, that's my little part about how I believed in the whole process. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially for individuals, that makes a huge difference because instead of showing that you completed a course, you show a project, you show something that you found, that you created out of nothing. So I think that's very strong. But when we move the conversation to from individuals to companies, how do you think our training approach comes across to companies?
Yeah, well, you've got maybe more types, but primarily two types of companies right now. There's one that are already on their journey. Um, they know that they've identified that they have to do something with AI in order to transform either their products or the way that they work internally, um, and um, and understood that they also need to have some training around that for their employees. That's one type of company. You've got the other type of company who know that they have to do something, but they've got absolutely no idea where to start. Um, and I think you know the use cases that we've had, and bearing in mind that we're typically working with companies that have maybe 1,000 employees plus, that are going through this process. Um, it can start off with the executive uh, buy-in through executive workshops and really ideating with them and identifying like some overall use cases about how their company could be transformed. Um, and then you've got the other side, the company that are already on that track. They know what they're doing, but they need to increase adoption of technology. They need to increase creativity of the employees, and enable them to actually come and identify the use cases within different business units where they can throw AI at it. Because I think one good thing where we are right now is that the hype of AI, where folks maybe thought it's a magic wand that you can wave at everything and it will fix all the problems. That's not the case. There's a time and a space for AI, and I think what we're moving into now is kind of leaving the speculative what ifs behind and really getting concrete on what it can do. And that is where companies really need help now in arming their employees with that ability to identify and to be able to ideate and create and create good habits around using it in their day-to-day work. Um, so yeah, two different types of companies. Ultimately, they end up in the same place, right? But yeah, entry points are
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
A lot of companies that reach out to us before we do something together, in the phase where we're discussing their experience so far and the things that they've done, a lot of them mention that they already went through workshops or different kind of one day AI exhibitions or a week long programs. A lot of them went through these already, and for some reason this is not working out. Why do you think this is failing? Why do you think a workshop on AI is not enough for these companies?
It's theory. Again, you'll have the feeling when you come home or leave the workshop. That was an inspiring speaker. That was a really nice session. I heard things that I haven't heard before. But it's the same thing about when you go back to work. Where do you start? What do you do? How can you use some of the things that you've learnt theoretically in those workshops and apply it to what you're doing? And that, if you don't jump on that opportunity immediately, and we all know it because we're all busy, leave it a week, 2 weeks, forget about it. It's not going to happen, right? It needs some dedication, and if managed in the right way, with the right type of training program, you can you can generate a higher skill level, and you can create habits to use those skills in parallel. Um, but yeah, workshops, yeah, super. But they're not gonna move the dial when it comes down to a company transforming. So
Yeah.
and concurrent, that kind of leads on to maybe courses, right, where they have concurrent days of training. Uh, that's tough, right? You go on a 3-day course with 7 or 8 hours of learning every single day, and it might have hands-on exercises and all of that, which have been prescribed during the course. You're given a data set, you get to work on that data set, and so on and so forth. And then you go back to work, and your mailbox is full up, and you have to take a day to get through that, and then you start getting back into the usual grind, and maybe you'll be using 10% of what you learnt on the course, 20%, even if it was 50%, which it's not. Um, there's some flaw in that, and again, my experience in going on one of our courses, right, last summer, was the fact that it was spread out over 7 weeks, enabled me to learn, practice, and then offline actually keep working, which enabled me to learn something as well. Then you come back into the next session and you're constantly upgrading your skills. But because you've got this gap, you're also increasing your habits. So you're much more likely to use what you're learning in that type of format. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned something very, very crucial in training because I think the approach that a lot of companies have towards AI is that they need to be informed, they need to understand it, they need to start using it. But what we focus on a lot working with companies is habit building. And that's crucial. And that's the reason why a 1 day workshop or a week-long program is not working. Because when we're speaking about companies, when we speak about employees, feeling comfortable using the technology, they should learn. Yes, the theory is important, but they should be able to apply what they use at
Yeah.
workspace as well. So I think that is probably one of the most important things that differentiates us in general, in my opinion.
Well,
And
yeah. I mean, what differentiates us as well is we're a training company. I actually think we're a transformation company.
yeah,
Obviously we deliver training, but I think we're a transformation company. And the difference, again, now I'm biased, right? But the difference that I saw coming in is that uh, the way that we build things, especially when it comes down to learning methodologies, is based on science, right? So take our taxonomy as an example. Is a good place to come in. So, for those of you that are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, we looked at that. We simplified it to make more relevance in a business context, and we got two sides to a pyramid. One side is skills, and the other side is habits. And uh, those those different levels, there are four different levels in our taxonomy, is basically identifying what outcomes you will get from every level that you're at. And that really helps us to help people to understand, right, first of all, what level are you at? And secondly, what type of training do you need at that specific level? So if you're right at the, let's say, right at the bottom of the skills ladder when it comes down to AI, and you need to get just knowledge about something, which is, you know that AI exists, but you don't know much else. Or even understanding, which is, it exists and you might have played around with it for a little bit, but not much else. Yes, an on-demand type of format course could help you with things like that. But any further up the ladder, which is actually integrating it into your work or your daily life, from a skills level or from a habit level, bringing it into that level, yeah, you need a different methodology. So yeah, sorry to butt in, but I thought a good place to talk about the taxonomy there. Yeah, and that's what makes us unique. Not many training companies look at that. So yeah.
yeah. I also promised before joining the webinar that we will talk about the secret sauce of why our methodologies are successful. What we do at AI Academy is that we emphasize a lot on how upskilling is tied to change management. I think this is also one of the very important things that helps us help other companies in a way that they need. So can you tell me also a bit more about how did we decide to do that? Actually, you know it better because we decided together when you came, and it has been a core topic at AI Academy.
Yeah. Well, the word change, in line with AI, have been, let's say, wafting around for a while and kind of gaining momentum. And it was pretty clear to me, not only from hearing about it, but actually by thinking about it, that this is so potentially so disruptive. This technology is moving so fast. Um, companies and companies do need to change, because otherwise they will literally be irrelevant in some, well, who knows how long, right? No one can really predict how fast this goes. Um, that there needs to be change management at the heart of implementing AI and adopting AI into one's company. So, we struck up a really good partnership with uh, really expert organization um, who are experts when it comes down to organizational change, individual change management, creating good habits, understanding the different processes, the different stages of bringing in new ideas into an organization, um, understanding that people will be fearful of some things, fearful of change, recognizing it, recognizing that people sometimes are going to hate your idea and not to go home and cry about it because it's normal. How to be yeah, disruptive in a diplomatic way, right? And yeah, our partner, you know, shout out to them, Diplomatic Rebels from Denmark. They're great at that. So yeah, we've created an AI change maker program, which is bringing those two worlds together and identifying, or rather helping on both of those sides of the pyramid, both from the skills side and the habit side, the change element, and bringing folks up into at least application, which is where you have the skills to use AI every single day and have consistent, reliable outcomes, and also on the habit side, the integrated aspect that you are using it every day. You have the skills and you are using it, because skills without using it, there's not really any point. So yeah, AI Changemaker Bootcamp, super excited about that. I think it's going to help a lot of organizations. Yeah.
I think so too. And also, there's one more thing that I want to specify about this. We talk about our taxonomy, our approach, and methodology, and a lot of people actually ask me about this. How is this adapting to different types of companies? Because we always talk about, okay, individuals, companies, there are different approaches, but there are also different industries, there are different use cases of AI when it comes to how to apply it in the workplace. So how is that adaptable to each industry? And why we think this works? Actually, this is a biased question because I know the results, but I want you to also tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's an easy answer, right? But the AI is so pervasive now that the, talking about what industry is most relevant for AI is just a non-question now. It's eking its way into everything, and I think what we're good at doing is giving people the tools and the skills to be able to self-identify afterwards and have a sustainable to be empowered sustainably to go forward and identify those use cases as their company evolves, rather than coming in and teaching something very rigid which then is irrelevant in 2 years time or whatever. So yeah, industry wise, I don't think it's it covers it covers all industries, right? And the habits, that's a, you know, kind of a human trait, and the skills obviously we focus on that from our side, but yeah, so industry wise I don't think it matters.
Absolutely. Also, I think one of the reasons why is that our methodology is evergreen, meaning we don't come and tell you what kind of projects you should build in your company. We don't do that, right? What we do is help you identify what you can do because we always stress this. People have the domain expertise. People know what is relevant to your industry, to their industry, what kind of needs they have, and what are the things that would make their everyday life easier using AI. We're not there to tell them what these are, but we're there to tell them how they can define these projects, how they can come up with ideas, and how they can actually make their own life easier. So this framework, for this reason, applies to each kind of company, industry, individuals, and all that. So I also want to ask you, companies know, individuals know, everyone know that they need to do something about AI. But I think the question is also where to start.
Mm.
And it's also quite clear that they should start with some sort of education, they should inform themselves and employees. But if you were to advise some next steps to someone who decides to start on AI today, a
Yeah.
company who decides to start on AI today, how would you advise them to start?
Yeah, so from an organization's perspective, and again, going back to that, there are potentially two types of organizations: those that know they have to do something but have no idea where to start, and those that are already on their journey and realized, okay, we need some sort of training program. Um, I mean, we have that nailed, right? In terms of a product, reach out to us, and we can go through the the different ways that we would work. Whether you're right at the beginning and need to have that executive buy-in through executive workshops that then lead on to a learning path for employees. That's one aspect, and then our AI adoption program for enterprises. I mean, that's brilliant. We're obviously working on a couple of projects right now where we're using that AI adoption program, which is specifically targeting increased adoption, increased creativity, increased innovation for employees, and actually being able to track that. So yeah, we're seeing the results of that now. And yeah, so if there's anyone here that's working for an enterprise that wants to find out some more, then get in touch with us, and yeah, we'd be happy to go through and tell you some more. And then
I saw
from an
that also. Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
sorry,
tell me.
go on. What were you going to say?
No, I also saw our Joelle on the background was sharing some useful links for people who are interested. So if you're interested in understanding where to start, feel free to also reach out to us, and then we'll be discovering what would be the first best next step for you. And in the meantime, I saw that we have a question. So if you have also other questions, feel free to write them in the chat. I'll be asking them to James. So someone asked if we teach graduates to act as transformation agents in companies where they work, which I think is a very interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, if we took out the word graduate, the answer would definitely be yes. But now the word graduate is in there. It's got me got me thinking. Yeah, um, yeah. I think that's a good idea. Whoever's
Well, I
written that.
mean, graduates, I took it as people who participate in our trainings, right? Graduating from AI Academy, basically.
Oh, okay. So these are your graduates to act. Well, yeah. I mean, in relation to the AI Changemaker bootcamp, that's definitely a transformation agent. So someone that will have the skills, and again, the skills from a technological standpoint, and the skills from being able to um, advocate within an organization the habitual change that needs to take place, then yeah, 100%. Sorry, I'm kind of, yeah, looked at graduate and thought of people coming out of university, but no, AI Changemaker is targeting especially that. Yeah.
Actually, it could be also the name that is sometimes deceiving. Actually, great question for you, James. If you were to choose a new name, would you still go for AI Academy, or would you change the name of the company before joining? Because
Yeah.
I think now there are so many AI academies, sometimes people are very confused about that. But hey, we've been there for quite some time now.
Pros and cons, right? So I mean, we do what it says on the tin. It's pretty difficult to um, yeah, mystifying what we actually do. But yeah, there's a lot of AI academies about right now. But as long as you go for the one that is kind of like a pinky color instead of any of the other fakes, then yeah.
Exactly. Now that we spoke quite a lot about how we approach the training, why the methodologies that are traditional not working right now, I want to shift the focus a bit from what we do to you as a person, because you witnessed a lot in the past years on what happened in the education industry, and now I want to ask, how does it feel right now to work for such a small company compared to education providers, and being here with us, being in a completely new industry, I would say, AI education. What do you feel?
Yeah, I think that I mean, the feeling of being in a company that is in their growth phase is super exciting. Um, I like the fact that AI Academy is a company that has been born out of expertise rather than a sales or a marketing guy that thinks that this is a great opportunity to make money. So obviously, we're a for-profit business. We want to do well and all of that, but that's not where it started. You know, with again Gianluca, our founder, who's a pretty exceptional human being when it comes down to not just his knowledge about AI, and his 10 years of backing that up. But he really cares about this stuff, and probably could have made a hell of a lot more money going down a consultancy route or joining a big tech. So I love the fact that we're a company that has been born out of expertise, and obviously you and all of our colleagues, are very, very skilled at what you do. And some of the things that we've been able to achieve in 3 months, I've reflected back at companies that I worked for and thought, crikey, if we'd just done half of that, that would have transformed the company. So we do an awful lot of good things in a very small space of time. So personally, that's been quite eye-opening and humbling, and I feel like I'm learning as well every day. So yeah, I like being the old bloke. Uh, um, yeah. So yeah.
I think so too. One of my favorite things about AI Academy, which I'm really vocal about, I mention it as much as possible, is exactly that. It comes from an expert point of view, and what we do is we learn together within the team as well. Every Wednesday morning, we meet, we look at AI news, we look at whatever is new, we test out tools, we share it with our community. So we're not, yes, we are a transformation company, but at the same time, the company itself, I think, stays almost as a thought leader itself, because we have people reaching out and saying, how does AI Academy think about AI agents? How do you define it? So they take us as a reference point, which I think is very difficult to achieve. And it's thanks to years of work, also from our founder, Gianluca Mauro, but also the team behind it. And I also love that, including you, none of us came to AI Academy just looking for a place to work. You know, it's we are all here for a reason. We're here because we believe in something, because we stand for something. So that has been very fulfilling, at least from my side, being here. So I'm really happy that you also come from a very different background and you now stand for something and you have ideas that you want to share. So this is super valuable for AI Academy. So once again, I want to take this as an opportunity to thank you for joining us, for being a part of the team. I think you bring in a great attitude as well. So I'm really, really excited to see what are the things that we're going to be doing this year. And looking at the time as well, I will slowly close.
Well, I
So
just
as
want
the
to
last
just want to
question,
mention just quickly while you've got up. So where you mentioned community and thoughtfulness and all of that, yeah, you're right. I think we are a very thoughtful company internally, and when I say thoughtful, I mean we reflect on things a lot, and that I think led us to the decision when thinking about AI education from an individual's perspective that we needed to have some sort of membership to what we do. So, I mean, the annual membership that we launched in the end of last year really targets those individuals that don't just want to come on a course, to come on a boot camp, but really want to have an extended engagement with a company that will support them as this change continues the whole time, as this technology changes the whole time, and to have access to AI coaches, human beings, for the whole year when they're working on projects, to have member exclusives, deep dives, fireside chats, webinars, mini boot camps that are going to build upon what they've already learned, and ramming this all into a membership program, which I don't know if Joel is still there. Maybe he can stick up a link for that. But that's a really
he did that
powerful.
already.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a really powerful. That's a really powerful product that we've got for the individual that wants to. And I'm not over exaggerating. Wants to change their life, right? By really getting down and dirty with AI. So yeah, yeah.
I think life changing is not that of exaggeration, because it will definitely take away the stress of having to follow AI news all the time. Because when you're a part of the membership, when you're a part of the community, you're updated, because we have different channels where we discuss these things. So we share our opinions, and the members are constantly updated, which I think is the biggest value there. So thank you for mentioning that. I think it's very important.
Yeah. And I hope this didn't come across as a sales pitch, because that wasn't the intention. There is thought behind behind bringing that out because it wasn't an easy decision, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think it's good that I mean, the reason why we decided to also do this webinar is one, to bring your story, but two, also because people ask us, how do you approach training? What do
Mm.
you do that is different? So people are really curious to know also what are the different kind of things that they can collaborate us with. So I think it's great that we mentioned that as well. So thank you so much. And looking at the time, as a last question, I want to ask you, what is the message, what is the thing that you want to leave the audience with, closing the webinar?
Not to be hesitant, not to be fearful, to look at AI as a really positive, disruptive force. Um, if you have got imposter syndrome of and worrying because you haven't done what you think you should do in terms of learning more about AI, which I've heard a lot, um, it's not too late, but you do need to do something. So sitting on the sidelines and hoping that it will all be okay um, won't cut it, right? You're going to feel 100 times better by getting involved and learning something. And whether that's you learn something from us or somewhere else or whatever it is, just learn something about AI and go on some sort of journey with whatever time that you have, and it will make you feel better and be more productive and be super creative, right? So, um, yeah, just do something. That's yeah. Maybe we should use that as a bit of logo. Just do something.
Just do it. That's
Yeah,
how we finish it.
yeah.
Also, maybe if I can add up to it, what I want to leave the audience with is that you're not alone in this. You don't need to decide yourself what you need to do. Get help, ask around, come to us with questions. If you have questions about what we do, if you have questions about what we think about a specific development in AI, on DeepSeek, maybe come
Mm.
and ask us, reach out. We're really happy to have these discussions, and if we can help, we're also really to help. So contact us. Link is in the comments right now, as I saw Joella shared it. And thank you so much for joining, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And as
Thanks.
promised, I'm finishing the webinar this time on time. I'm usually better at podcasts where my time is unlimited and I can talk until tomorrow. So this time I'm going to have to stop on time. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next
Thanks
time.
everyone. Thanks, Helene.